Hi kids! So you probably know about the Witchers. Well, at least you know about one particular sword-swinging, monster-slaying and sorceress-playing metrosexual fruitcake. Chances are, if you clicked on this video, you either know about Geralt of the Witcher universe, or you're so sad at the lack of uploads by Salmonella that you decided to give a shot to this bootleg Italian version of him. And in that case, I thank you. Mwah. And let's give him proper honors. Let's put this right here. Yeah, that seems nice. Anyways, of these sexy Witchers, we now have various iterations to consume and enjoy. And we may all agree or disagree about the quality of some of these iterations, but, one thing is pretty clear, that these Witchers, they're pretty cool. They're alright. And I don't know about you, but I kinda wish that they existed in real life. Well, if you didn't catch up with the title of the video, something or someone like these Witchers really did exist in real life, specifically in 16th century Friuli, a region in what is now northern Italy, and they were called Benandanti, which translated literally means good wankers, walkers. Weird name since they fought evil witches in another realm. Stick around to find out how, please. But surprisingly, they were not much better walkers than anyone else. But I think that's enough talking for an intro, and let's talk about this jollyful bunch of weirdos, shall we? So the Witchers get their superhuman powers and cool cat eyes by enduring the trial of the grasses, a grueling process undertaken at a young age, in which they had to take in horrible chemicals and drink unknown solutions until they passed out. Also, fun fact, and this is true, this traditional process is still alive and well, and is now called spring break. The only difference is that this modern version involves significantly more grass than said trial of the grasses. On the other hand, the good walkers got their superhuman features, we'll talk about those features soon, during the most disgusting miracle of all, childbirth. You see, the distinction between a good walker and your normal average walker was made at the moment they were born. That's because if a tiny human came out of the old baby furnace normally, then it was meant to be a normal peasant. But if said baby came out with a button-up shirt, which is just a cute thing to say when a child comes out with his own amniotic slippery carry bag, it was taken as a sure sign that he'll be able to bridge the gap between the humans and the magic realms, the dead and the wild hunt too, for good measure. Now, the logic of how they worked might be a bit shady, but you gotta remember that this is the 16th century we're talking about, and the 16th century was also known to be a shady place.
Wow, he's so beautiful, don't you think, my dear?
Well, yeah.
What do you mean, well, yeah?
Well, first of all, I can barely see him in this moist yellow fish tank. And second, why is he all soggy, slippery and covered in all this baby juice? Is this supposed to be breeding or something?
Oh my pagan god, it just means he'll be able to fight evil witches and witness the spirit of the dead.
What?
See, for that to happen, we'll first thing first open the sack. And we take a piece of it, let it dry in the sun like beef jerky, bless it, and after it's shivered enough, we put it in a little bag over his neck. And when he comes of age, this will enable his good walker powers.
And that's what they did! You thought animal-resembling, magic-detecting medallions were cool? Well, look at this little sack of baby meat jewelry. Hot topic step aside, honestly, good walking 7-Eleven is where I'll be getting my edge at. Also, something noteworthy is that, unlike the Witchers, both men and women could become good walkers. And with a meaty pendant at their neck, the last step was to survive the grueling and dangerous peasant life until they became of age. Then, and only then, the humble Friulan average walker will become a good walker. And now we get to the interesting stuff. If you paid attention, you remember me saying that these people could bridge the gap between our miserable, smelly mortal realm and the total funk that were those magic realms. You see, as you probably know, in the Witcher universe there is no distinction between where we as normal people will live and where all the cool magic happens. It's all on the same plane of existence. And you might think this is cool, but remember that you're just a peasant. So your only interaction with magic will be having your wife forever cursed into an abomination by a random witch, because she got one order wrong while working at medieval Starbucks or whatever. But you deal with it, you love her after all. And you still have your brother to hang out with. No. You just remembered he got killed last week, because he decided to go forage some mushroom in the forest. and encountered a mythical flamingo drake ape with anger issues. But hey, at least your cabbages and turnips are growing ripe, waiting to be sold at the market. Therefore, you'll likely not starve in the coming winter. So you got that going for you, which is nice, right? Thankfully for us, the past was a more civilized place, so our mortal realm and the magic realm had the decency to split up. But that wasn't enough to stop those stinky witches and sorcerers from causing failing crops, illnesses and famines. Well, lucky for us, the good walkers were there to defend their fellow humans from this magicy evilness, and 4 times a year, specifically in the fateful temporal nights, they readied themselves and without hesitation they jumped into action, ready to battle for the destiny of their people. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say they jumped into action? Sorry, my mistake. What I meant is that without hesitation they jumped into their beds for a good night of sleep. And that's where the true battle began, because at this point, while sleeping, their spirits will detach from their body. And one by one, from all the good walks of life, the good walkers will join together as spirits at predetermined locations, such as the fabled meadow of Josaphat. And their spirits could take all sorts of shapes and sizes, and they were not afraid to get wacky and goofy with their shape-shifting choices. Okay, great, so welcome everyone to this year's 4th and last battle. I'm glad to see some new faces. We don't have much time, so let's get on with the roll call. So first one is Antonio. Here am I. Okay, nice. You choose a gorilla. Very good, I like it. Now Barney.
I'm here.
Okay, you choose a wolf. Timeless classic. Good job. So now Charlie. I'm here. Wait, where? I can't see you. Down here. Okay, a small hedgehog. I see. So do you have a battle plan? Yeah, we gotta figure it out. Basically, Antonio will throw me at the witches and I'll stab them with my pointy ends. Alright, sounds doable. Now, Dennis.
Here am I.
Seriously, Dennis? A moth?
What? Where's the problem? I'm the only one who can fly. You are so basic and predictable.
Okay, you can fly. And what are you gonna do? Sprinkle them with your dust? Confuse them with your display of colors and fake eyes? Come on, you could have chosen, like, I don't know, a wasp or a bee or something.
And do what? Stab them? That's so uncreative. You know, Jerry, I'm actually tired of this. You shouldn't be afraid to be a little more flamboyant. It will make this occasion actually enjoyable, you know? Enjoyable? This is a battle, Dennis. Do you want your people to starve? Every year we ask you to choose something that you like, but also makes sense, like, I don't know, a cat. Those are cute. It can actually scratch or bite at least. Dude, we are in 5059. Cats are so 1480s.
Okay, whatever. Fuck's sake. Let's get on with it. Come on, everybody, pick a weapon and be ready. And boy, pick a weapon they did. Literally. While those fancy witchers armed themselves with 2 swords, steel for humans and silver for monsters, no. The good old workers were working class people. They had crops to plant, fiancés to bank, alcohol to be drank, and they lacked their silver in the bank. They had no time to waste on such frivolous armaments, so they picked a more natural approach. They will fight with fennel stalks that they will presumably gather from the meadow of Josaphat or whatever it is they were fighting at. Now, you may all laugh at their weapon of choice, but have you ever actually seen a fennel stalk? Not like a feeble and pathetic domesticated one. I'm talking one of those big, wild and strong fennel stalks that to this day still run free in the wilderness. I honestly find it even more convenient than a sword. It doesn't cost money, you can snack on it, makes your hands smell nice, you name it. Now, you may still not be convinced by their weapon of choice, and for that you should probably know that according to at least one good walker, the witches and sorcerers used sorghum to fight, which is like this thing, so they fought on even ground anyways. And finally, with fennel stalks at their hands or paws or whatever, the brave G-Walkers stood ready for battle, waiting for their foes. Which, by the way, according to another good walker, one Menechino della Nota, did not arrive flying on their brooms. These were classier witches, so they chose classier means of transportation. namely a flying boat. And I assume they had the courtesy to park that ship before fighting, since aerial advantage would admittedly make this battle kind of one-sided and uninteresting. And so, with everyone in their combat positions, the battle began. Now, I know it's a bummer, but we really don't have any descriptions on how the fighting went. Probably because we're talking about imaginary stuff. But hey, a man can dream, and in those dreams, we see Charlie bravely fending off swipes of weeds, only to discover that his spirit was deathly allergic to sorghum, and he instantly dies from spiritual anaphylactic shock. Enraged by this vision, Barney charges in and rips the witch's throat out. Bathed in the blood of the foes, he finds the strength to continue the courageous attack. Even Dennis flies in, raiding his tiny fennel nunchucks, only to be forever enchanted by a powerful spell named the Light Bulb. But all this dismay and pain, after many years of meaningless violence, finally breaks the feeble imaginary psyche of Antonio, making him go apeshit. Got it? So he ditches the fennel and starts ripping every witch and sorceress in half. All the while, Jerry watches the horrors of war in front of him, once again pushing it all back, wondering when it'll be his turn to snap, hopefully in his spirit form and far away from the gaze of his family's eyes. Yeah, that seems about right. So yeah, they duked it out in this dreamy wonderland, and if the witches won, then it'll be a time of hardship. You know, like crops failing, illnesses and all the usual suspects. But if the good walkers won, then a time of prosperity will follow. Now, if these dudes only had to fight 4 nights every year, that wouldn't make them all that remarkable. So during the rest of the year, they will go around fighting the evil influences of said witches, helping people afflicted by the evil eye or enchantments or whatever. They were basically like those scammy televangelists telling you to buy their essential blessed Pope holy bathwater that can cure every disease. But in all honesty, since medicine at the time was, god-awful, I'm willing to give them a pass on this one. What I'm also willing to do is tell you how they also had a pass to see the pest out. Now, here there are only a couple of interesting points. One of them being the main antagonist of The Witcher. You know them, you guessed it, cue the drum roll. The Wild Hunt! So basically they were supposedly able to see the dead in just a couple of ways. One of them was exclusive for the good walking women, as they could have vision of the dead by just looking into a bucket full of water, but only during their period days. Now, please remember that we're still talking about the past. So these poor women not only lived in a time when they were considered just an above average broom, when the female orgasm hadn't been invented yet, but it was also a time when running water was basically science fiction. So imagine these poor women going down at the river to pick up a bucket of water, and for all the way back home they were forced to listen to their recently dead mother-in-law bitchings on how her precious Herbert should have married Nora instead of you because she had better childbearing hips. The other dead witnessing thing they had was said Wild Hunt. Now, I was excited too when I read this, but apparently this undomesticated pursuit was a super common form of religiosity way back. It's basically impossible to look into any pagan religion from Central Europe and not finding some form of it, maybe under different names, such as the Procession of the Dead, the Furious Army, or the Irate Assembly of Expired People. Now, I like those buff elves too, but this Wild Hunt has none of those pointy ears. Just regular, boring, unalived people having a good time. As according to a 1091 monk, and I quote, "While walking in the countryside, he heard wailings come from a procession. Upon closer inspection, he witnessed a dance macabre and recognized recently deceased people, guided by a wild-looking character, armed with a club." Now, sadly, between the 16th and the 17th century, the biggest party pooper history has ever known, the Catholic Church, decided to get involved, and an Inquisition was formed to investigate these supremely walking heretics. Now, at first they defended themselves by saying that they fought those evil witches in the name of Christ and his faith. And at first it actually worked, as according to a member of said Inquisition, and I quote, "It was declared that after affixing magic formulas on a peasant hand, thus protecting him from demons and witches, the harmful effect of the devil utterly stopped. But, to increase their chances, the good walkers accused said peasants, saying it was them who performed witchcraft. This has been historically seen and accepted as a dick move. So now they were being persecuted for heresy and assholery. Finally, during the late 16th century, the now twat walkers' popularity with the peasantry fell through the floor. And here I like to think that the Inquisition actually caught them mid-battle.
Oh my god, so it's true. He really has the powers.
So they were declared persecutable as heretics, although no one was actually ever executed. And also, to be fair, we have to thank said Inquisition if we still have this much information about them, since the majority of our knowledge comes in the form of interrogation transcripts. In conclusion, the formerly good walkers walked their last walk, only to be forgotten by basically everyone in the general population. But they basically went from the 9th century to the late 16th century, so I will say they had a pretty good run. So in the end, moral of the story, kids, when they say to keep the kid in you alive, sometimes it's better to keep a dried piece of it in your neck. You might get some extra perks from it. So that's the end of it. And you know, new channel, help a guy out, subscribe if you can, put a like if you want. Anyway, that's all for today. This was Cool Era Academy. I'm your host Luca. Until next time, thanks for watching.